If your son wants to smoke, will you buy it for him? Hearing this question, the man under the stage was stunned. His name is Nick, public relations for the largest tobacco company in the United States. Every time the tobacco industry is attacked, he can always help the company counter-attack with one mouth. Nick has a nickname, Gatlin of the tobacco industry, but that day he was invited to a variety show. Next to him was a boy who had lung cancer from smoking. The host asked Nick, "Are you really not guilty?" Nick replied, "The whole tobacco industry is sorry about this. But you have to believe one thing. Tobacco companies want their customers to live better than anyone else so they can make money, but there are others. They wish more people would die from smoking. To make money between human blood, steamed bread and cigarettes, he prefers cigarettes." Just finished the program. Can you go to your son's parents' meeting? Someone else's father is either the captain or firefighters. Nick is a cigarette lobbyist. A girl asked him, "Isn't smoking fatal?" His mother told her. Nick didn't answer positively.
Is your mommy a doctor?
No.
A scientific researcher of some kind?
No.
Well, she doesn't exactly sound like a credible expert now, does she? My point is that you have to think for yourself. You have to challenge authority. If your parents told you that chocolate was dangerous, would you just take their word for it?
No.
Exactly! So perhaps instead of acting like sheep when it comes to cigarettes, you should find out for yourself.
Hearing this, the teacher quickly interrupted Nick. The son was too embarrassed to look up. In fact, because of this job, Nick's wife has divorced him. But even so, my son still adores Nick. Once the teacher asked him to write a composition. The title is "Why is the United States the Best Country?" Nick asked him how to measure the quality of a country. Is the crime rate, per capita income, or education? The reason for this problem? Because Americans are arrogant and ignorant. Nick wants to tell my son, there are all kinds of voices in the world, but you have to make your own choice. The next day Nick was urgently called to the company. The boss showed a video to all the senior executives. A congressman who supports the ban on smoking announced, in the future, all cigarettes will be printed with skeletons to remind people that smoking is harmful to health. In Parliament 2 months later, he wants to discuss the bill openly. If Parliament passes, the performance of tobacco companies will decline sharply. The boss is in a hurry. Ask everyone to give a plan immediately. Then Nick came up with a clever plan. He told the boss, in 1927, cigarette sales soared from 10 billion to 123 billion, because that year people invented movies. It wasn't long before the film was released. The company successfully overcame the difficulties. In a TV interview, Nick used this to humiliate the senator. That day Nick suddenly received a phone call. A cowboy who once spoke for cigarettes recently. "We are contacting reporters to sue tobacco companies because he has lung cancer," the company sent Nick. Nick came in and dumped $1 million on the grounds. "So whether you take the money or not, I won't take it away. But if you insist on prosecution, all this money has to be handed in and get your $5,000 compensation." The cowboy was stunned at this. Said to think about it again. Nick said to him, "No reporter is willing to wait for an overdue news. You have to make a choice right away. Leave the money, or hand it all in this way." Nick once again saved the company from danger with his eloquence. On the way home, the son asked Nick why he wanted to help the tobacco company do bad things. Nick said, "This is my job, like a lawyer defending bad guys. He's not taking sides, it's defending the right of everyone to a fair trial." But Nick doesn't know, a reporter spotted him thousands of miles away. A few days later, Nick ran into May of the bar. The two became friends at first sight, and talked happily. Finally, May asked Nick an important question. "How many people can you sleep in your bed?"
You really want to know? Really?
May finally got the answer he wanted, wrote a whole report with satisfaction, exposed Nick's ways of helping the tobacco company wash white. Nick fell into disrepute overnight. In order to preserve its reputation, just fire him. Then he claimed that he was just a temporary worker. In the FBI called and said he will be charged with fraud. A series of changes drove Nick into the abyss. No matter what he did, it was useless. But at this critical moment, the sun appeared.
Why are you hiding from everyone?
It has something to do with being generally hated right now.
But it's your job to be generally hated. Like you always said, if you want an easy job, go work for the Red Cross. You're a lobbyist. Your job is to be right. And you're the best at what you do.
Looking into his son's eyes, Nick suddenly realized this is just the beginning. The next day he held a press conference. Frankly, how did I get the information? And people began to react. It's not Nick who really goes against professional ethics. It's the reporter made. Before long, Nick stepped into Parliament. In the face of the aggressiveness of parliamentarians, he was calm. Nick told them, If anything that endangers life is to be labeled with a skull, then why not stick these on the wine bottle? And millions of people die from obesity every year. Do you want to put a skull on the cheese too? For a moment, the congressman was silenced. Fortunately, the person next to him reminded him. He remembered the most crucial question.
What are you going to do when he turns 18?
Nick was silent for a moment, then he slowly said his answer.
If he really wants a cigarette, I'll buy him his first pack.
Has someone's asked Nick such a question? What if I learn to think independently like you? Does that mean I can always be right? Nick told him. There is no absolute right in the world, like the evil tobacco company. They want their customers to be healthy forever. Members who advocate a ban on smoking. The table is full of famous wine. Behind him was a huge advertisement for cheese. There are many people in this world who have their own intentions, that it plays an important role, and the reason we have to think independently, just to not be swayed by their correctness.